You ever see something that works fine but feels just a little off? Like a statue that looks impressive, was made with obvious care and attention to detail, but entire sections of the thing are using the wrong material? That's Bowser in Smash Bros. Right now. He looks great, plays exactly like he should, yet some of his moves and animations just don't feel right. Or sound right. Carryovers from Melee, where he acted more like a wild beast than an evil king with a thirst for conquest and a one-sided crush he refuses to let go of. Dude, she's just not into you. But what if we could remake Bowser's Smash design to finally fix that? Gotta admit, this'll be different than usual. I've remade movesets that are too rooted in the past, haven't appealed to the character's fans, or have been an utter mess in general. But Bowser's biggest flaw is presentation. How do we make the right changes to fix that without screwing up the parts that already work? It won't be easy, but I think we can pull it off. So without further ado, it's showtime! Alright, first things first. Bowser might look the part, but he's had something dragging his Smash depiction down for ages. Sound weird? How about now? Yeah. Bowser's voice from Super Mario Galaxy onward has become an iconic part of the character. Loud, fearsome, intimidating, yet still emotive enough to react indignantly when Mario beats him yet again. But in Smash, he's always sounded more like a wild animal than an intelligent being. Well, not always intelligent, but you know what I... Hey, easy there, your angriness. So yeah, let's do the thing that damn near everyone's been asking for since Smash 4. New voice lines for Bowser across the board that show off more of his true personality. Speaking of personality, we can retool some animations to use more of it. His current entrance animation looks kinda cool, but it's also really generic. How about instead, we have him swoop down on his Koopa clown car, inspired by his Super Mario World fight. As the flying machine swings by the stage, he leaps over the side, hits the ground/platform with a loud thud, and grins confidently. In 1v1 matches, he even yells, "Showtime!" Yeah, I couldn't resist. We can adjust a couple victory animations in the same way. How about a new one where he laughs triumphantly while a couple of his minions stand nearby and applaud? Or another where he raises one arm in a mighty pose and boasts, yeah, that one's directly from Bowser's Inside Story, but when fans love his depiction in that game, I think we can afford a couple direct references. Before we move on, can we do anything with Bowser's alternate costumes? Well, a little. Most of them are pretty good, but his sixth palette is barely different from the default, so it's the odd one out. And you thought we were done with the cuts and buzzers after the last video. We can move the blue alt, a recurring palette swap dating back all the way to the Japanese version of the Lost Levels, over to the 6th slot and add a new 8th based on the Dark Star's replica of Bowser's body. It's not meant to be Dark Bowser, just the real Bowser borrowing the palette. That's right, you faker. He'll kick your ass and steal your color scheme. Now let's take a look at Bowser's stats and other details. First up, do we need to adjust his fighting style at all? Nah. Like I already mentioned earlier, his current setup fits him great. Bowser wants to get up close and personal and threaten his enemies with powerful attacks, including a big scary command grab special that deals a ton of damage and takes stocks without breaking a sweat. Grappler playstyles often revolve around making opponents afraid of getting grabbed or getting caught by some other big move, then exploiting that fear to counter whatever they do to avoid it. His grabs scare people into not shielding or into dodging haphazardly, letting his regular attacks hit home easier. And Bowser's particular take on the archetype plays off how he usually behaves in his boss fights, and how a player using those moves might be more effective with them. Most of his moveset is only kind of slow startup-wise, but almost all of it has high end lag. Just like in his boss fights, he's most vulnerable when he goes for a big attack and misses it, which is why a big part of playing him is being careful with your offense and baiting opponents into screwing up so they leave themselves open instead of the other way around. Grapplers usually play patiently, but this adds an extra layer. On to Bowser's detailed stats, most of which stay the same. It's for the best. You know how he gets when there are too many confusing numbers. His walking speed is still slow, yet intimidating, made up for by a very good initial dash, the 6th fastest among Ultimate's roster, and the exact same speed as Lucina's, oddly enough. His burst range is legitimately huge. Also, his fall speed is still decently fast, and he's still the single heaviest character in the game. As if that was going to change, right? But here's where things get interesting. You see, I actually lowered a couple of his mobility stats. Bowser's exact speed varies from game to game, but he's usually not super fast unless he's behind the wheel of a go-kart. Because of that, I cut his running speed down quite a bit. Nearly 15% slower now. It's gone from being just outside the top 20 to being slightly below average. And his airspeed's also worse now. A 6.5% reduction that makes it only slightly above average. Now, I know that sounds like a big nerf for a character who hasn't been lighting up the tier list, but I promise there's a method to the madness. This redesign is supposed to help Bowser feel more in character, right? Making him less unnaturally fast was, well, part of that. But more importantly, I made up for it elsewhere. For one, we can raise his jump height a little. He's always jumped surprisingly high in his boss fights, so it makes sense. For two, his recovery is actually improved, thanks to one of his specials working differently. And for three, adjustments to a different special have given him a new tool that helps him approach more easily than he ever could before. Sometimes. Trust the process, your inquisitiveness. It'll make sense by the end. Alright, let's get to the fun part. How has Bowser's moveset changed? We begin with his basic grounded moves, and right off the bat is a new jab combo. The old 1-2 punch was fine, but we can help him a little with a new animation inspired by his attack in Super Mario RPG when he doesn't have a weapon equipped. A diagonal claw slash followed by a forward strike. It keeps the speed and damage of the original jab, but improves its range, which is how it helps. This is not the last time you'll see something from this game. I promise not to go overboard. Bowser's tilt attacks, I chose to leave alone. They all fit well, and they're useful in different ways. His forward tilt's strong knockback can help take stocks, his down tilt can cover dodges or ledge get-ups, and his up tilt pressures platforms and catches people trying to land amazingly with its giant hitbox. Rounding out the set is a new dash attack. We're reaching into Bowser's inside story for this advancing punch. Little more startup compared to his old running kick, but its main hitbox stays out longer and hits harder than before, making this a burst option that can KO. The animation wouldn't be exactly as depicted here. Will look more like he's throwing his arm forward so hard that it flings the rest of his body along with it, which also makes him faceplant at the end for extra end lag, so make sure it hits. That's the fluff out of the way. Now how about the big hits? Bowser's smash attacks let him dominate the battlefield when they work. And his new forward smash starts us off with a bang. Now he winds up and thrusts his hand forward so rapidly that it grinds through foes like a drill. I know, replacing the drop kick is like sacrilege, but hear me out. The drill claw's multiple hits can wear down shields enough for the last part, which hits as hard as the original kick, to poke through. His up smash is a variant of his current one. Bowser leaps upward to slam opponents with his shell, but now he curls into a ball while doing so and front flips in midair a few times before crashing back down. Deals multiple hits that are active for longer than the old move, and it still has invincibility at the start of the jump. But we can't just pull from spin-offs. Bowser has a new down smash from one of his mainline boss fights. This move from Super Mario Odyssey has him ignite his tail and spin it in a circle at ground level. Hits on both sides and is faster yet weaker than his other smashes, though being weak for a Bowser smash attack is like being small for a big rig. What about when his royal awesomeness gets into the air? Bowser's current neutral air isn't bad, but let's say he found a way to give the awkward cartwheel more oomph by exhaling some fire at the start and guiding it around him with his hands and feet. Looks flashier and adds more hitboxes, so this 4-hit move gets most of those hits more often. As for the rest of Bowser's aerials, yeah, I left his forward, back, and up airs in place. Forward is a brutal looking claw swipe with a massive arc on it that fits in perfectly and is already one of the best forward airs in all of Ultimate. I didn't want to remove both drop kicks, and this powerhouse of a back air with scary fast startup but a ton of landing lag is still an important part of his kit. And his up air is unwieldy, but it gets the job done. Bowser's more about catching landings than keeping people in the air anyway. And lastly, wait, what the? His old down special is a down air now? Bowser pauses and hangs in midair, then drops straight down onto anyone unfortunate enough to be below him. A very strong but very laggy stall and fall move. It doesn't quite break shields the same way anymore, but it still deals a ton of shield damage, and lets us keep the Super Mario Bros. 3 reference around. Alright, how about Bowser's grab game? Well, of course this is important for him, and his grab animations are still a grappler's best friend. Stretching out one of his huge arms, these work the same as in the last two games, on the slow side, but with very good range. His pummel is unchanged. Might as well put those horns to use here too, helps soften opponents up. Bowser's throws got a minor shakeup, and yeah, I couldn't resist more Super Mario RPG stuff. Bowser hurls his opponent forward with both hands. Guess he pretends he's tossing Mario. Knockback's at a higher angle than the old version, but we can raise the knockback growth so it still kills off the side just as easily. His new back throw is a little weird. You know how Bowser spins his chain chomp weapons over his head? Well, for this, he turns around as he spins his opponent a couple times in the same way to build up momentum, then flings them away. Functions like his old back throw, kill power included, but with a fancier animation. And I left the other two throws alone. It's for the best. His up throw's still a brutal looking move that pops people up for easy follow-ups. Having a good combo throw is important for a grappler and a platform fighter. And his down throw is mostly just for damage, but it still looks hilarious. Now how about some taunts for when Bowser wants to show off? His up taunt has the same animation, but with a new voice clip that fits much better. His new side taunt's been a long time coming. Instead of the old biting motion, Bowser laughs uproariously the way he's become known for. And one more for the road. Bowser's down taunt now has him laugh less uproariously, but this time, one of his minions materializes in a puff of smoke to join in. Randomly chosen between a Goomba, Koopa Troopa, Paratroopa, Dry Bones, or Spike. Hope they weren't busy guarding the castle or anything. Alright, now for the other fun part. Let's see what Bowser's specials look like now. First up, how about his neutral special? Of course this one stuck around, but it has something extra now. Press B, and Bowser still breathes fire to deal rapid damage to anyone in range. You can adjust the angle slightly, the flames die down the longer you hold it for, and they recover if you don't use it for a while, yada yada. Still an important part of the moveset that lets Bowser mix up his offense and harass recoveries for free damage. But you know how fans have been clamoring for a fireball variant? Well, now if you tap B twice at the start, Bowser channels all of his remaining firepower and spits a giant fireball, its exact size dependent on his remaining firepower, that builds up speed, travels directly forward, and explodes on whatever or whoever it touches first for a big hit that deals extra shield damage, at the cost of completely exhausting Bowser's flame reserves in one shot. An already helpful move just got even better. This new fireball variant gives Bowser a powerful projectile that he can run in behind for easier approaches. See? Told you I'd make up for the mobility nerfs. Sure, you can only belch one fireball at a time, and afterward it takes a while until you can use either version of the move again, but a big hit up front with a cost to it is very in character. Go big or go home. Let's move on to another special. Up next... yeah, we're talking about his down special next. Out of order? You're out of order. With Bowser Bomb a down air now, we're borrowing from a staple of his 3D boss fights. On use, Bowser braces himself and prepares to jump. Hold B here to build up power. Let go, and he leaps into the air with a front flip while resisting knockback against weaker attacks. The longer you held for, the higher he goes. You can even steer him left or right a little. Then he plummets straight down, feet first, stomping anyone in his way. And if he hits the ground or a platform, the resulting impact is so powerful it creates a flaming shockwave that radiates out to his left and right, dealing a secondary hit. The longer you held for at the start, the further the shockwave goes, and the more havoc it wreaks. Shockwave Slam plays a similar role to the old down special, but with some extra bells and whistles from all the different shockwave moves Bowser's used in his boss fights that give it some new flair. If you use it while in the air, the initial leap doesn't go as high, and holding doesn't gain as much power, but he still gets the knockback armor, which is why his recovery's a little better now. Just don't go for it every time, or opponents will bait it out and hit you hard after you land. But what about his main recovery move? Bowser's Up Special is completely unchanged. Yeah, this one works just fine as it is. Fun fact, it functions a lot like a classic grappler lariat move. I know, not easy to spot right away because they took the defensive multi-hit special that covers both sides idea and gave it a Bowser-specific animation. Pretty clever design. Well, at least from Smash 4 onward when it actually became useful defensively. Anyway, Whirling Fortress lets Bowser recover and also lets him skewer opponents who slip up when he's nearby, even when his shield is up, forces them to stay honest in the presence of the Koopa King. Oh, we've saved the best for last. Can we give Bowser a new side special that helps highlight his personality better while still being a big scary command grab? Well, it's worth a shot. Turns out he got so indignant over how Mario beat him way back in 64 that he decided to come up with his own version that does it better. On use, Bowser quickly reaches forward with both hands to grab anyone right in front of him. If it works, he clamps down with his right hand and begins spinning rapidly in place like an Olympic athlete doing a hammer throw. The longer he goes, the faster he spins, eventually throwing them as hard as he can for huge damage. But while he spins, you can move left and right and jump to reach higher terrain, repositioning yourself just like with his old side special so the spot you throw from is closer to the blast zone. But your opponent can also influence the direction you move in if they have less damage than you, and can mash out early if you're not careful and don't press A or B early to throw them before the end. Big Bad Swing is more directly inspired by the source material while keeping the niche of a high-powered grab. It even has similar frame data, disturbingly fast startup, but very high end lag if you miss. If you grab someone in midair, Bowser and his victim fall at regular speed during the spin, your movement left and right are more limited, and opponents can mash out faster so you can't just carry them to your mutual death below so easily. Now, what about Bowser's final smash? Giga Bowser may be iconic, but there's a new super mode in town that's become so popular that I keep seeing people want it to replace Giga Bowser. I know, surprising. Let's take it for a spin. With the Smash Ball in his clutches, Bowser grins, then roars menacingly and leaps into the background as a pitch-black, tar-like substance coats him, growing him into a kaiju-sized monster that dwarfs the battleground he now looms behind. Flames flicker out of his maw as a targeting reticle appears. Just like your other big moves, use its presence to scare your foes into leaving themselves open. Then press A or B, and Bowser locks on and breathes an enormous stream of atomic fire, and unlike a simple punch, the fire keeps going for several seconds, and you can press any direction to slowly adjust your aim, just in case anyone nearby thought they could escape. With his fury exhausted, Bowser shrinks back down to his normal, still imposing, size, and gets back to business. And there, a revamped version of Bowser that adds new moves and animations, adjusts some others, and reorients his presentation to feel more like the bombastic villain he's famous for being in the Mario games, while leaving the parts of his moveset that already work intact, including a fighting style that still fits him to a T. Sometimes all it takes is a few touch-ups to make an old veteran feel like new again. Or so I hope anyway. Any of the many Bowser players out there watching, did this hit the right balance of upgrading his personality without changing too much? I didn't overdo it on the Super Mario RPG stuff, did I? Can you tell the original version of that was a formative game for me? Hopefully this rework helps highlight the surprising amount of depth to Bowser's character, like how he genuinely gives a damn about his minions, while emphasizing the stuff that makes him such a fun bad guy, especially how over the top he likes to be nowadays. I mean, this is a guy whose latest Mario Kart track is a Thunderdome looking arena built in and above the caldera of an active volcano. He truly knows the difference between a regular villain and a supervillain. Presentation. Special thanks to the following for helping make this video. Shout out as well to my channel supporters, patrons, and YouTube members. And now, it's their turn to throw their weight around. Anyone supporting the channel, which you can too for as little as $1 per month, can vote on which of these three gets a Smash remake next. Hey, another big super heavy? And he got a new game with so much new stuff that we can give him another episode? Bowser's probably off fuming about not getting his own game. So, until next time, like the moon over the day, my genius and brawn are lost on these fools.